The first thing my ex-husband did when he saw me at the Alder room was pull my husband's chair away from our anniversary table and ask the hostess whether the restaurant had started seating delivery drivers. Grant laughed loudly enough for 3 nearby tables to hear. He had always treated humiliation as theater. If strangers weren't watching, it didn't count. My husband, Ethan, had stepped downstairs to retrieve the handwritten card he had left in our car. His bourbon was still sweating beside the empty chair when Grant dropped into it and loosened his tie. "Claire Bennett," he said, using the last name I had reclaimed after our divorce. "I thought that was you. 5 years married again, according to your little anniversary post. Did your new guy save all year for this place?" Behind him stood his girlfriend, Kendra, wrapped in a cream designer coat despite the warm Chicago evening. She was the woman Grant had called his real match when he left me 9 years earlier. She looked me over, then glanced at the river view, as if one of us had to be counterfeit. "That's Ethan's chair," I said. Grant leaned closer. "Relax. I'm congratulating you. You finally learned how to borrow a better life." At 33, I had left our townhouse with 2 suitcases, $614 in checking, and an apology I had written to him for not being impressive enough. Grant had corrected my grammar at parties, mocked my community college degree, and introduced me as the organized one while taking credit for every presentation I had edited. When I discovered Kendra's earrings in our bedroom, he told me an ambitious man eventually outgrew a timid wife. For months after the divorce, I heard his voice. Whenever I applied for a job above assistant level, I rebuilt anyway. I took night classes, learned financial modeling, and stopped apologizing before I spoke. By the time I met Ethan at a hotel industry conference, I already had a director's title and a mortgage in my own name. He never rescued me. He listened without trying to grade my answers, which felt more radical than romance. Kendra touched the menu. "These entrees are almost $100. Some women change their last name, but not their level." "Some women change their coat," I said, noticing the loose seam on a sleeve, "but not the man who lies about paying for it." Her smile vanished. Grant tapped the table with 2 fingers, the warning he used whenever I embarrassed him by answering back. "Careful," he said. "I'm regional director for Northstar Lodging now. 26 properties, 900 employees. Your husband probably services our elevators." Northstar employed nearly 18,000 people, so it was possible for Grant to spend 3 years there without crossing my floor. I used my maiden name professionally, kept my private life off company newsletters, and had declined the glossy executive spouse profile the communications team once proposed. Grant saw privacy and assumed poverty. Before I could respond, our server, Leah, arrived carrying a leather bill folder. Her face was composed, but color had risen along her neck. "Mr. Holloway, I'm sorry. Management needs another form of payment before we continue service at your table." Kendra stared at him. "You said the corporate card covered client dinners." Grant pulled a black card from the folder and held it up for everyone to see. "Run it again. Your machine is the problem." "We ran it twice," Leah said. "The issuer declined it. He tried a personal card. That one failed too." The total on the folder was $1,284. Grant had ordered a reserve bottle for people he had apparently been entertaining in the lounge before he noticed me. His guests were gone, their half-finished glasses remained. Then he pushed the folder across my anniversary table. "Cover it," he said. "Call it repayment. For the years I carried you. I'll reimburse you Monday." The cruelty was familiar. The request was so absurd that, for one dangerous second, I almost laughed. He had mocked my marriage, insulted my husband, and now expected the woman he called beneath him to rescue his image in front of strangers. "No," I said. He lowered his voice. "Don't make a scene. You brought the scene with you." Ethan's voice came from behind my shoulder. "And you're sitting in my chair." He stood there in a charcoal jacket, my card in one hand. Ethan was 47, broad-shouldered, silver beginning at his temples, and so unshowy that Grant mistook calm for weakness. Grant rose slowly and gave him the smile he saved for men he believed were useful but inferior. "You must be the husband. Take some advice, Claire needs expensive reassurance." Ethan set the card beside my plate and rested a hand lightly against my back. "The only person asking my wife for reassurance is the man handing her a $1,284 bill." Grant's jaw tightened. Leah looked as if she wanted the floor to open. Ethan gave her his card. "Please charge our dinner only. And make sure Ms. Bennett's dessert is still coming." The floor manager hurried over before Leah could leave. "Of course, Mr. Reed. Mr. Campbell asked me to tell you the board dining room is ready whenever Northstar needs it." Grant's expression shifted. He knew the name Ethan Reed. Every Northstar quarterly webcast began with it. Ethan was executive chairman of the company Grant had just bragged about running, though his quiet photographs rarely resembled the man standing inches away. "Read," Grant whispered. Ethan pulled out his chair. "Now we understand each other." Grant looked at me, then at Ethan, assembling the ugliest explanation first. "So that's how you got in?" "No," I said. "I joined Northstar 6 years before Ethan and I married. I'm Senior Vice President of Vendor Integrity. My team audits the expenses your region submits." Kendra stepped away from him. Grant still held the declined corporate card, but now it resembled evidence rather than status. "This is a setup," he said. "You froze my card to humiliate me." I hadn't known any individual card was frozen. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, my department had paused 12 accounts tied to incomplete vendor records. I had approved the control as a group and left before the final list populated. Until Leah handed him the bill, I had no idea Grant was one of the 12. Before I could explain, a woman from the next table approached. She was in her 60s, with a red reading glasses chain and the careful posture of someone forcing herself not to retreat. "Ms. Bennett, I'm Rosa Alvarez from Brightline Events," she said. "Mr. Holloway owes us for 4 hotel conferences. He told me to reissue the invoices through a company called Juniper Lane or Northstar would stop using us. I brought the emails because I was coming to meet another client tonight." Kendra went completely still. Juniper Lane was the small event planning company she had started from her apartment. Grant called Rosa a liar. Ethan asked the manager for a private room and told Rosa that independent counsel would contact her. He did not threaten Grant or fire him beside the bar. That restraint frightened Grant more than shouting could have. As Ethan and I entered the elevator, Grant's voice followed us from the dining room. "Claire planned this. She's been waiting 9 years." I watched the doors close on him. For once, he was right about one thing: I had been waiting. Not to destroy him, but to reach a day when his opinion could no longer destroy me. Monday morning, I found a red-tagged investigation file on my desk. Expense duplicates, altered vendor codes, and 7 complaints described the same pattern. Grant pressured small suppliers, humiliated female employees, and shifted questionable charges into marketing budgets. One audio clip captured him saying, "People sign when they're scared of losing access." Because Grant and I had been married, I immediately disclosed the conflict and removed myself from the case. Ethan recused himself too. The board's audit committee hired outside counsel, and I turned over my calendar, emails, and the approval log for all 12 frozen cards. Process mattered. If Grant was going to fall, it had to be under the weight of facts, not my anger. He understood that weakness in the appearance of things could be used as a weapon. By Tuesday, an anonymous message had reached every Northstar director. It included a photograph of Ethan and me at the restaurant, an old divorce filing, and a clipped recording of me saying, "This time, he doesn't walk away." Grant claimed I had engineered an audit to settle a personal score. The board placed me on paid administrative leave while outside counsel reviewed the allegation. It was the responsible decision, but walking out with my laptop sealed in a gray evidence bag felt eerily similar to leaving my old marriage with those 2 suitcases. Online gossip called me the chairman's vindictive wife. Grant remained employed during the investigation and sent me one text: "Still need a powerful man to fight for you." Ethan wanted to issue a statement. I asked him not to. "If the rules bend because I'm your wife," I told him, "Grant wins even if he loses his job." For 10 days, I stayed home and wondered whether dignity always had to be proven twice by women who had already earned it once. Then Kendra called the independent hotline. Grant had left her at the Alder room with the bill, promising to return with cash. He never did. When she searched their home office for bank records, she found vendor payments routed through Juniper Lane and electronic forms bearing her signature. Grant had used her company as a pass-through and told vendors she was a Northstar-approved consultant. She had enjoyed the gifts and ignored warning signs, but she had not authorized the transfers. She also had the complete recording Grant had clipped. I had made the statement to our general counsel in the elevator lobby: "This time he doesn't walk away from documented complaints while the women who reported him lose their jobs." The next 40 seconds, which Grant removed, transformed revenge into the exact opposite. The second break came from Maya Chen, a 25-year-old analyst in Grant's region. She had filed the first hotline complaint 3 months earlier after refusing to change Rosa's vendor code. Grant's human resources partner marked it resolved without interviewing her, cut her client hours, and placed her on a performance plan. My department's backlog review had reopened her case 19 days before the restaurant encounter. That timestamp destroyed Grant's claim that dinner had started the audit. The hearing took place in a plain conference room, not a courtroom. Grant arrived in a navy suit with a lawyer and the old confidence he wore as heavily as cologne. 6 audit committee members sat across from him. Ethan and I attended only as witnesses. Grant said the vendors were confused, Kendra was vindictive, Maya was incompetent, and I was obsessed with him. Outside counsel displayed the system log showing that the 12 card freezes had been generated before our reservation began. Then Rose's emails appeared, followed by Kendra's bank records and Maya's original complaint. Kendra joined by video. "You told me powerful men make the rules," she said. "You weren't powerful. You were hiding behind everyone who was afraid to check." Grant turned toward me. "You know I wasn't always this way." I thought of the apology I had once written for failing to impress him. "You were," I said. "I just spent years making you look kinder than you were." The committee terminated him for cause and referred the financial findings for an external forensic review. The human resources partner who buried Maya's report was dismissed too. No one applauded. Real accountability was quieter than revenge and far more permanent. Outside counsel cleared me completely. I returned to work, but I did not pretend the system had succeeded simply because it finally believed us. We built a rule requiring independent review whenever a regional office closed a complaint involving its own leadership. Rosa received her overdue payments with interest. Maya's performance plan was erased, and months later she earned a promotion through a panel that had never met Grant. Kendra ended their relationship. She accepted responsibility for ignoring suspicious money and cooperated with the forensic review. I didn't become her friend, but I stopped seeing her only as the woman who replaced me. Grant had sold both of us different versions of the same lie, that standing near him made us more valuable. Almost a year later, Ethan took me back to the Alder room for our 6th anniversary. Near the entrance, Grant sat alone in the lobby, waiting for an interview with a restaurant supply company. His suit was cheaper, but what startled me was not his fall. It was how ordinary he looked without other people's fear enlarging him. He asked Ethan for a moment, then looked at me. "I lost everything," he said. "Could you at least tell them I was good at my job?" I could have lied and called it mercy. Instead, I gave him the only fairness he had never offered me. "I will confirm what you did well," I said. "I will also tell the truth about what you did to people. You don't get a clean history by asking the person you hurt to erase it." Ethan asked whether I wanted to dine somewhere else. Through the glass, I could see our table beside the river and the same white lights that had once made me feel exposed. "No," I said. "He doesn't own this room." We stayed. We ate slowly, argued playfully over dessert, and toasted the life we had built when no one was watching. Grant left before our entrées arrived. I did not feel victorious because he had fallen. I felt free because his fall was no longer the measure of how high I stood. The past never disappears on command. It simply loses authority each time you refuse to let it choose your chair, your voice, or the price of your peace.